Well, good morning. Going to do a little practicing. Got two old rackets, two classic rackets. One a Dunlop Maxi-Ply, another two 2000. If you don't know about those, look them up. You can find out who played with them. And so I like to practice in the morning and just practice a little bit. And haven't done this for a while, but practicing just keep it. A lot of times people don't realize how important it is to keep your head up when you serve. And so watch that ball, whether it's a forehand, backhand, or serve. Watch that contact point. And for a few seconds, or you look at great players and they watch that ball. And so here I'm just practicing. I can practice like a karate chop or a racket on edge, you could say, and this way. Then I can practice turning my racket, okay, and I can practice pronating, okay. Pronating is actually like your hand, where you turn your hand, And so here I'm practicing, keep my head up. This is one way I like to practice. To face you, I might turn this way now, and I'll go the opposite direction, and I just push that fan, okay, and I push the towels and going forward. I can do it on the edge, like this, edge, and then I can practice pronating also. This helps me to keep my head up when I'm serving. I very seldom will hit the ball into the net or double fault, very seldom. I used to practice a lot of serves on my knees, and that's one thing. It takes a lot of practice and work if you want to be proficient at a particular shot. And so serving, or I can practice going around it, going around the ball, and so like I'm slicing and pushing, and so I'm going around at 9 o'clock for my left hand, 3 o'clock for my right hand. And so I like to practice both right-handed and left-handed. There's been times that I hurt my right shoulder, I couldn't play, so I played left-handed. Times I hurt my left shoulder, and so I played right-handed. And I had some really difficult injuries a year ago, and very painful. And people say, oh, you should get surgery. But I did all kinds of stretching, all kinds of exercising, and it's better than them cutting open my arm. I had pain going to my back, and my arms hurt, my shoulders hurt, and very little sleep. But it's worth it to take the time to endure and let it heal. And so it did heal. And so I was thankful for that. And if you have trouble with your arms, instead of just using one hand, use two hands. And it's amazing how that's going to help your ground strokes too. So use one hand, two hands, left hand. Learn how to be ambidextrous, especially when you have repetitive motion. And tennis is a lot of repetitive motion, and you're going to hurt yourself, if you're not careful and use your whole body. That's one way I can practice. Another way is using a device called Topspin Pro, and I can practice a spin. And like I say, I like to do one hand sometimes. I like to do one hand, and then I'll do two hands, and then I do left hand. I do, one hand, two hands, and then one hand. Okay, so one hand, two hands, and then one hand, and I'll do it on both sides. Okay, so I do one hand, two hands, and then one hand. And on this side, I have another device that I practice upon, and that way I hit through the ball. And so I put this on the edge of the couch. It's something I designed. I do a lot of things with springs and things that people discard, and try to think of ways I can create tennis devices. And this is just not to hit hard. I really don't like to hit too hard, but there might be some ways that you can accelerate the racket. And so this is just a device that I have on the edge of my couch that I can just practice hitting that ball forward, okay? And usually more shoulder high, okay? And so I have this little device here that I made, and I'll practice hitting the ball, and my focus is to watch that ball, okay? And it's just something nice that I can push. I have to adjust this a little bit, put a little more tape on it so it doesn't, so it bounces correctly. And so right now it's a little off, but that's okay. And so I just practice. And so these are just different ways that I practice my serve here, or I can practice my volleys. And there's no way if you have I can just practice pushing like this, and I just practice pushing the ball. And it's a great way of practicing, especially in rainy days, or if you're in Wisconsin on cold days. And so I just practice, and a lot has to do with tennis is hand-eye coordination. And so this is how I practice. I have all kinds of devices I try to work on. Someone gave me Topspin Pro the other day. I'm going to try to get on a list. Going to be on a list where I can promote these, hopefully. And I think it's a good device. And I have a lot of devices that I use that I made myself. And so this is just a good way of practicing and your volleys. And so it's a great way of doing it at home. You're not trying to, break anything in the house. You're trying to, be cautious at the same, and smart, use wisdom. And I'm just practicing. Here I'm practicing my backhand volley. Here I'm practicing my left hand forward volley. And then I can switch and go the opposite way. I can practice my forehand volley like this. And then I can practice my backhand volley. And it helps you get a good touch and a good feel. Instead of swinging at the ball, you're feeling the ball. It's like, like a baseball player catching the ball. You're just catching it and you're pushing it, okay? And just feel for it's light towels or little light towels are really light. It's not going to weigh down the fan. And I'm not sure, it's not really a towel. These are not towels, but they're little mini blankets, I guess. I don't know what you would call them, but it's just something, I guess, to put on your lap, keep warm. I'm not sure what material they're made of, but it's really light. And here I'm just practicing my volleys, or if I want to turn around, I can use a half racket. You don't want to break anything, and I just practice. And the idea on my serve is I'm practicing my pronation, okay? I'm practicing a turning motion. Pronation is like a turning motion. Think of your hand. Think of throwing a football. Think of throwing a baseball. Anybody that can throw is going to have a pretty good serve. And so I know that I need to, this summer, one of the things I want to work on is I want to practice throwing and increase strength, my overhead strength, which since I hurt my shoulders when I was young, I did some dumb things, playing tennis too long and too hard, and playing when I was injured. And now I'm ambidextrous, I use both hands because I like playing tennis. And so here I'm practicing. And so give yourself some time to heal when you do get hurt, or play with your opposite hand, or play with two hands. And so you have to find ways that you can adapt and still enjoy a sport, okay? So this is just one way that I practice, and so I hope this is helpful. I'll probably put this on YouTube or on my Facebook, and just gives you an idea. There's the serves. I can hit flat if I want. I can practice flat, okay? A lot of times people don't work on the flat serve like they should, or they don't work on going around the opposite side. Over here, I'm inside out. I'm going inside out, and so I'm going the opposite way for my serve, okay? And so you can practice different ways if you have an idea. Now, so this is a good way to practice. And so I go back to my volleys, okay? Back to my volleys. Okay, and then I can do both ways, just go the opposite way. And another thing I can do also is if, get chairs, make sure you have permission for this, and don't fall. But I'll come up here high, and then I'll put, and then I'll practice right here, just get in the feel, just get in the feel. I'm up here, and I'll space yourself well. Because when you're playing tennis, you gotta space yourself anyhow to the ball, and you move. And so now I'm just pushing, I'm getting the feel. It's a great way of practicing, okay? I like to encourage people to keep the racket head up. I tell a lot of my students to focus on a particular shot. I'm focusing on my ground strokes using a half racket. I like to keep the racket up, so I'm focusing on the forehands, or one side's the backhand, one's a forehand. I'm focusing, and I'm focusing on pushing. And so I always tell them find the ball with the racket, feel the ball with the strings, and then follow through. And of course, I always tell them to have fun. So when you're first learning, I tell them to focus, find the ball with the racket, feel the ball with the strings, and then I also tell them to follow through. And then if they do a real good job and having fun doing this, I say fantastic. So I don't know if you want to use the letter F, is this good? Focus on a particular shot, find the ball with the racket, feel the ball with the strings, follow through, and of course, have fun. And then you say fantastic, or maybe you could use another word and say fabulous, okay? And so find ways to practice, be creative, see things that are discarded, use springs, use wheels, and that way you can practice. And so I have one device that I like to use. It's an old golf cart. I turn it upside down. I made a stand for it, and then I can practice over the ball, can practice going under the ball. And so it's just a great way of practicing, especially in Wisconsin when you have summer months and then fall and the long winter. And you wonder, when is spring coming? And so springs are great to use, so hang on to springs. If you see some discarded things have springs, keep your springs, okay? This fan is like has a wheel inside, of course, and it spins around. So see how things work and use things and be creative. Someone then that invented the Topspin Pro, had to think about other items that they used. I mean, it almost looks like on the Topspin Pro, they use almost like a surfboard, of course a tennis ball. It almost looks like a painter's brush. It almost looks like when they have a stand that's a music stand, and they put it together, and someone used creativity and made quite a bit of money, inventing and being creative, and now they promote a Topspin Pro. This is also a way. I have a device outside to where I can just do this outside, where I have a wheel that spins, and you can practice your serve. It's safe. It's a safe way of practicing. And so I want to encourage you to find ways to practice, and so this is just a great way of practicing my volleys if I want to, okay, or my backhand, and I'm pushing, okay, my forehand, and I'm practicing feeling. Now one fell off, no problem. I just put it back up when I want to practice more. Also, we can take it off, clean stop the fans. That's a business that people have too. It's just going in houses and cleaning people's fans. And so be creative in teaching. Be creative in trying to make money. Be creative in practicing. Great ways to practice at home. Okay. And so I hope this is helpful, and it gets your curiosity and enthusiasm up.